Oh, if you didn't know, this is the Morning Wood NFL Sunday here, brought to you by Rumpier Sports.
What up, boys? We're back with the Golf War Show, the preeminent golf show on the entire internet.
Huge weekend of baseball coming up. We haven't really had a final week like this in a while where there's so many teams that are still alive.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone! Unbelievable! A home run for Gibson. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone! Gibby beat Freddie!
They might have the best pass rush in football.
They were adamant about not having a slow start.
How many times have they disappointed us? So I'm having a lot less of this game.
The game is over. The New York Jets are the world champions. Mahomes swings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City! The Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions!
Welcome to Pickin' Winners. This is Rumpier Sports. I am Statsational here with my boy JBC. And JBC, happy Halloween, man. I see we've got the great border here.
You go with this one.
Oh, that's just brutal. Are you any big plans for tonight, Friday night?
So Memphis is playing the Lakers, but LeBron and Luka are not playing.
Yep.
So I'm going to try and get rid of the tickets. And if they don't sell, I'll just go.
See, there you go, man. Well, Luka's been banged up, right? But yeah, that's the load management. I know. I saw Michael Jordan.
He hurt
a little bit. He
hurt himself.
What's up?
Luka hurt himself.
No, I know Luka's hurt. Yeah, but the load management's come under some scrutiny with the MJ interview the other day. I know you're. I don't even have to ask you about that. I know which way you'll always side on whatever's happening in 2025 as being optimal. I heard an argument. Who was it? I think I forget who. I think maybe Cowherd. One of those guys just talking about how the no, it was actually WFAN in New York talking about how the pace of the play is so much faster now that you do need that load management.
The 80s they played fast. The 80s they played fast, and 90s they played slow.
Very slow. And then I mean that was the heart of my NBA days. But you were also depending on your matchup, it wasn't every team. But you played the Knicks teams, you played those Pistons teams, you were pretty much getting pounded on. So it might have been a slower pace, but I just saw an interview with Shaq just talking about how those Knicks teams just absolutely just beat them up every time they played.
I think a lot of it is related to just modern training going so far. You're pushing your body to like its absolute limit. You see the problem in baseball with pitchers too. You're training things that in the past your body's not built. Like it's like Tiger in golf too. You push your body to a certain point, it's gonna break down. So
yeah, well, I think you touched on a few things that I actually have opinions on. I'll with the Tiger thing. I think with Tiger, he was one of the first guys. There was others, obviously, but he was one of the first guys who really was getting himself into insane shape, the weight training type of deal. Now, was he using performance enhancing drugs? I know there's a lot of speculation about that, but that's not, that body type is not necessarily what you want. Like you look at a Justin Thomas.
Never got hurt.
What's that?
Bonds never got hurt.
No, that is true. But you look at the body type for a golfer. It's like, do you ever think like Justin Thomas will never hurt himself? You look at that guy, you're like, yeah, he's gonna just play.
Mickelson doesn't get hurt. John Daly doesn't get hurt.
It's like Bryson DeChambeau. You're like, man, you're so tight and just jacked that you're just destined for some injuries. You're right with the Bonds thing. Bonds didn't get hurt. There was a lot of study back then when all the PEDs were involved in baseball. We were seeing different types of injuries. It was more like muscle tears that you just never saw because the muscles were now, the tendons couldn't support the muscles. So you were seeing just different types of injuries. In baseball, you're talking about the load management. You equate it to pitching. No one's really been able to figure it out. Like, how do we get
I've explained my theory on this to you before.
Yeah.
I think that in the old days, if you tore your elbow when you were 15, your career, you were just done playing. And so the only guys that ever made it to the major leagues were the rubber arm guys. And now you can have Tommy John when you're 16 and keep going. And those people just aren't equipped to be throwing that many innings.
Yeah, it's actually a great point. You're I think you're the only person I've heard make that claim, and it does make a lot of sense, right? You kind of weeded out these kids at 16, 17, 18 who just weren't going to have the arm to sustain that kind of longevity. Now these kids are preemptively getting Tommy John surgery, thinking that somehow that is going to strengthen their arm.
In our arm, because people want to blame the motion. Dude, Chris Sale has the most absurd motion as far as strain on your arm, and it took him 15 years to get hurt.
Yeah, and then he was hurt all the time. But it was, I watched him live last year, I think it was, down here in Tampa. Yeah, I don't know how anyone ever hit off that guy. It's just such a herky-jerky. But they were talking about that way back when. You're right. I mean, when he first came up and I was looking, drafting fantasy teams, they're like, he's an injury waiting to happen. But you just never know with pitchers. And is it the case that these guys maybe don't train enough? I know, Adam's saying in the chat, he's right. These kids train year round, which is probably not a good thing. What you see now is like the kids are focused on one sport at an early age, which I think is bad.
I think it's bad too. Cross training is a lot better.
Exactly. Because I mean, when I played as a kid, you played baseball all summer. The winter rolled around, you played football. When the football season was over, you played basketball, and then you jumped back into baseball. You kind of did everything. And then if you were going to be good at one particular sport, by the time you got to 15, 16 years old, if you wanted to really concentrate,
you didn't have to choose until you're like 17.
Exactly. Baseball is the one that you really do have to play young. It's real tough. You don't just pick baseball up at 15. So you don't see a lot of those guys. But you see it in football for sure. If you're an athlete,
I think you could as a pitcher. As anything else, you couldn't.
Pitcher you'd probably be right. I think pitcher would be the one thing that you may be able to pick up later on. But football now, I mean, there's no NFL player who even wants their kid playing tackle football until they're in high school.
And you don't need Jordan Mailata didn't play football until he was 23, and he's like top 5 tackle.
Because it's more of an athletic, right? It's an athletic feat, right? Where baseball
it's less about skill and more about athleticism.
Right. So if you're just that ridiculous athlete, I mean, Akeem Olajuwon, right? He was a soccer player.
Right.
Didn't play until later.
Same with Embiid.
Ewing, the big guys, obviously they were, but when you're a point guard, you probably wanted those skills at an early age, like learning how to ball handle and all those.
Well, and you can tell, like when Embiid has the ball on the perimeter, it looks kind of awkward, where as opposed to like Anthony Davis, who was a point guard until he had a growth spurt when he was 17, 18, he looks like he knows how to dribble. Embiid doesn't look like he knows how to dribble.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's,
like, I'm not saying it's ineffective. It just looks weird.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. Because, I was saying this too. I was thinking this the other day with golf. I'm like, everything is so structured now at a young age. Everyone's taking lessons. They're on the hit tracks for baseball. They're on all the monitors, for golf, that you don't get the uniqueness anymore. Even with baseball swing, like there's still some uniqueness, but it's like everyone's become very much cookie cutter because they're all learning the same way, where you don't get an Arnold Palmer in golf with just a wacky swing that he learned on his own. Like these guys aren't learning on their own anymore, which I'm sure is, look, they're learning in a better way, but you don't get the uniqueness that you
I don't know that they're learning in a better way, because the thing is everybody's different and you should do what feels comfortable. So if you're forcing yourself into something that feels uncomfortable, like, Tiger obviously tried to switch his swing up like 10 times over the years, and every time it was worse than the time before. Like if he had just stuck with what he had originally, he would have been a lot better off.
It's pretty crazy to think the guy came off of maybe the best year in the history of golf and decided I need a swing change. The
constant strive to be better.
That's what it is. I mean, it's probably the same mentality that causes a 30-year-old movie star to go get plastic surgery, right? It's like,
right. Because it's like Tiger wasn't playing against the field. He's playing against himself.
Yeah, especially in golf. Yeah, I mean, it's really a game against yourself and the course. Adam, with another good thing with Leo, I do agree. I think these kids don't actually pitch enough. Not pitch. I shouldn't say pitch. They don't throw enough.
Yeah, like we were doing long toss every day.
Long tosses, and that's
and you
that's
see
actually one of
Yamamoto. The Japanese guys do it. Yamamoto is out there in the outfield, fucking chucking every day.
Well, you know, when you get Tommy John, they're getting you on long, so you gradually just start long tossing from further and further distances, and I think that's building up the strength in your arm. I get the kids. I'm not coaching right now. My brother's coaching the kid. I'm like telling him to work on the kids. They're at 11 and 12 now. Just the long toss. I think long tossing is just. I think it's the best thing for your. It's not full out throw as far as you can. Just nice, easy long toss with just a little crow hop and throw it.
But have you seen the videos of Yamamoto?
I have. Yeah.
He just stands in place and can just chuck it like the whole length of the field.
Well, I
Without
tell people, I tell people, when I was younger, and you tell people, yeah, I played baseball and stuff, and when people would ask you like, oh, well, why don't you still play? And I'd always jokingly be like, well, I'd rather sit in an office all day and do that under the neon lights or fluorescent lights than go out on a baseball field. That doesn't seem like any fun. But people don't have any concept of how good any of these guys in any sport. They don't really. A lot of people haven't sat.
You have to have played against somebody like that. Like I remember, when I was 14 or so, we played an AAU game. It was against Josh Smith, the basketball player, and he it was at MLK High, like. And AAU tournament. I remember he was playing for the Atlanta Celtics. That was the name of the AAU team, and they beat the fucking shit out of us. It was 77-7. It was the first time I had seen anything like that. Obviously, when I got into high school, my team was a lot better. But at that, they were throwing down windmill dunks at 14. Like you're just like, all right, this is not happening.
Yeah, I don't think most people have been in that situation to see it. And like I said, even at the pro level. It's hard because when you're at the pro level, even if you you sit courtside at the NBA, you know how good these guys are. But if you don't have a comparison of like you at that age playing again, like, okay, these are a bunch of kids who are pretty good. Now they're playing.
It's a little easier to tell because they're so big.
They're the two sports where you can you see someone walk in a room and you go, well, that guy plays basketball or that guy plays football. Like you can't do that with baseball. You can't do that with hockey.
The football guys fucking, they're wearing shorts, like their legs are busting out of the fucking shorts.
I told you when we were in Vegas and I went up the elevator with Garrett, Miles Garrett, and I'm like, I'm just looking at him like, how does this guy run as fast as he does at the size he is standing next to me? I'm like, these are just different type of human beings. But when I go to the baseball game, I look at guys, like, just watch the warm-ups. Like you talk about Yamamoto, go watch the warm-up of like the third baseman when they're just throwing the ball around in the infield in between innings. And the third baseman standing out in like left field where the umpire stands, basically behind third base down the left field line. No crow hop, no nothing, just casually flicking the ball it's 127 feet from base to base, right on a diagonal. So he's probably 150 feet away, just flipping it like with the flick of a wrist, throwing a P to the first baseman.
Like on a dime,
Yeah, and I'm like, I've got to crow. Like when I was playing, I'm like, I need to crow hop,
and I'm throwing everything I can half the time.
Yeah, it's and watch the catcher throw it out the second. It's the same thing, but yeah, I don't think the average person realizes just how good these athletes are. But anyway, enough rambling on.
Except golfers. Golfers suck.
Yeah, no, look. One thing about golf is they're not as impressive that's the one sport. I mean, it's impressive, obviously.
Yeah, it's not impressive. Fuck them.
What's impressive is the short guy. I played in Pebble Beach with a guy who he wasn't a pro, but he qualified for the senior U.S. Open. So I mean, it's pretty impressive to qualify. But I played three.
Smoltz literally retired from baseball. Like, you know what?
Well, Rick Rhoden had done it. Rick Rhoden was trying. Johnny Bench was trying back in the day. Smoltz is obviously very good. Tony Romo's tried, right? I mean, Steph Curry's a pretty good golfer. But I was playing with this guy we're 3 holes in, and I'm like, yeah, he's obviously pretty good. And I'm like a 12, 13 handicap, and I'm hitting the ball, we're hitting it in about the same spots and everything, but his short game was just so much better. And then as we were talking, and he's like, oh yeah, I qualified for the senior open last year. And I'm like, you know, it's not. I mean, it's impressive, like watching them. But I've played. You know, the golf is just different. It's not as impressive of a physical feat. I mean, unless DeChambeau's hitting 400 yards.
That's
like
the only,
that.
and that's why he's the most popular guy right now.
Right.
Other
Yeah,
than
just
Tiger,
banging the ball. Or Rory, you know, Rory can hit it a mile
Rory.
high and long.
Nobody wants to watch anybody except DeChambeau and Scheffler, just because of Scheffler being better than everybody else.
Right. I mean but even Scheffler is kind of boring to watch.
It's because it's just irons. It's just irons hitting it close. It's not like we want to see DeChambeau hit it 400 yards.
Yeah, when you get like the first hole at Bethpage, you know, for the right, it's like I want to see
everybody's wanting to see DeChambeau.
Yeah, I want to see him cut the corner. I remember when he played here at Bay Hill, and I think it's the 6th hole at Bay Hill that you can. I mean, when I say you can, there's 2 human beings on the planet who could cut the whole thing off and try to go for the green. I remember when he was trying to do it like all 4 rounds back when he was still on the PGA Tour. Like, yeah, I want to see that because I played that course, and I'm like, it's not even a thought that you try to.
I'd rather watch
the
long drive.
Oh, those long drive guys are insane, and those guys are terrible golfers.
Remember, DeChambeau went in it and he came in like 8th.
Yes, yeah, but you know, most of those guys are like they shoot in the 80s. Like they're not.
Oh yeah, because they only train driver.
Yeah, and they're just it's like they look like softball, like professional slow pitch softball guys who are all 6'6", and just jack because they have to generate all of their own power.
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah, no, Adam makes a good point about hockey players. Yeah, ask them to smile. The hockey guys are great. You don't get your teeth fixed until you finish playing hockey.
Yeah,
like, those guys just taking their teeth out at all. They love that. Hockey, that's a badge of honor for hockey guys. They love showing you their fake teeth. But yeah, let's get it. Listen, we had a game last night, but that was a real.
I did
thriller.
win on the Ravens, but I had the over. That was some special futility in the red zone from the ball.
I was laughing. I wound up not take. I didn't take either side of that. And I saw a couple of sharp. I saw Pinnacle and Circa were both at 51. All the other books were at 51.5. So I liked the over as well. So I was like, it gave me a little bit of pause. And then I had it.
The actual right sides of that game were the Dolphins and the over, and neither one.
Exactly. And I know you get it, but it's just funny that you're saying that now because I was watching that last night going on their last trip into the red zone. I think they fumbled again, right? Their last trip in, they fumbled, and I'm like, this game should have been over in Miami. I'm like, and you know, and it's not even close to either one of those sides. So I mean, that's just the way the sports betting goes. Yeah, but Lamar back, and all of a sudden
they start cooking.
Yeah, they're right behind. They're right there, and are they favored now? I didn't look at it. They got to be favored.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They were favored before the game yesterday.
Yeah, they were favored going into the week. So yeah, this is.
And now the Steelers they got a tough one this week. I'm trying to think who
they're a dog. They're a 3-point dog, I think. Right?
Indy. Yeah.
I'm forgetting now. I've got it up in front of me. I got all the game. Yeah, they're they're playing the Colts. We're gonna get to that one in a bit. Let's actually jump into it. We'll start with the first game, which is the largest. Is it the largest spread? No, we got a couple of really big spreads here this week. Packers are home. They're hosting Carolina. 13-point favorites here. DraftKings got it at 12.5, but you got to lay a little bit more juice if you like the Pack at -115. 44.5 is the total, -105 at DraftKings to the over. What do you think on this one? Another big spread. A lot of double-digit spreads here the last few weeks.
I think BY is still pretty compromised. You know, they've been updating his status throughout the week as far as his injury, but Dalton is even more hurt than he is now. Dalton's not practicing, so Young has to play. It's just not a good situation for Carolina really at all. So I tend to like Green Bay here. 44 does seem kind of low for a Panthers game. The Panthers have put up some high scoring games. So I do lean to the over. I don't really like it that much, but I like Green Bay to put it on them.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Green Bay, you know, we always talk about with so many of these big spreads, I guess you might want to take the over. But I'm actually going to go. I'm going to be on the other side on both of these. I've got this line at 8. I made the number at 8, and then if we take into account the Dalton in there, I still don't think it gets you close to that 13. Probably closer to a 10. I mean, he looked obviously pretty bad.
But I'm saying I think Young is going to play.
But if Young plays, then I make the line at 8. So either way, I think we're getting value here on the Packers. I mean, on the Panthers. So I like I'll take the plus 13, and I think with that, my numbers have it at 42 on the total. So I'm going to take this one. I think we're getting, at most books here, and at DraftKings, we're getting 2.5 points better than that. So I'll take this one to the under. I like the points and the dog. You are taking the favorite here, and well, I said the points. I'm taking the under in the points. You're going to lay the points and take the over. All right, that game that we were just talking about though with the Steelers, it should be a good one. The Colts. I mean, are the Colts, if they're not the best team in the league, where do you think they rank? They're laying 3 points on the road here at Pittsburgh. It's even money here, plus 100, no juice if you like the Steelers on DraftKings. 50.5 to the over is minus 118. I mean, we've been saying it every week, but man, this Colt offense just keeps on chugging along. Looks like the best offense in football right now. And facing this Pittsburgh team coming off a loss. This is Pittsburgh. You got to keep pace here with Baltimore. Otherwise, they're going to be out of this one real early. So this is a big game for. I think an even bigger game for Pittsburgh than it is Indianapolis. But Indianapolis, I mean, it's not too early to start talking about home field because they've got it. I don't think they have a chance to play in Kansas City if Kansas City gets on a run here, or I don't know if Buffalo's going to get there. But any of those,
they're at home.
They need to play at home. They're going to put, if you're in Kansas City or you're in Buffalo in January, those are going to be tough environments for them to win in. I think they have a shot if they're home for those games.
What do you mean, Buffalo?
So they've got to keep winning. What's that?
You mean New England?
Forget New England. Yeah, well, New England's that's going to be a tough spot to play as well. I was trying to think there was one other team that throw New England in there, but what do you think here? Does Pittsburgh kind of right the ship in this game against the Colts, or the Colts just roll them here?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough to take anything against the Colts right now, or the offense in general. We've been betting Colts and over pretty much every game. Last week, same thing. They smashed them. Game went over. I like Indianapolis and the over again. Pittsburgh's defense has looked like a sieve, which is crazy to think about, a Tomlin team with a horrible defense. But I just don't think they can fucking cover anybody. So I like Indy. I like over. It's probably going to be that way for a while.
Yeah, I'm 100% behind you on this pick. Like I said, this is the best offense in the league. Coming in there, I don't like this Pittsburgh defense at all. I think this number is light. It should be closer to 7, I think, than the 3. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense,
they're terrible.
I got them as you got to throw like Dallas and Cincinnati out, right? Because they are like historically bad defenses. After that, I think this is the 3rd worst defense in the league. Or the worst defense after those two teams. And
Dallas, Baltimore, Chicago.
Baltimore might be even slightly better than this Pittsburgh team. So, but they're right there. Let's put it that. So Cincinnati, Dallas are in a world of their own, and I think Baltimore, Pittsburgh are pretty close to being that bad. And I don't think they can hang offensively here. The Colts, the Colts defense is not the
middle of the road though.
It's middle of the road, exactly. It's a middle of the road defense that is fine if you're going to put up the kind of points that they're putting up on a week in, week out basis, being the what I have is the number 1 offense in the league. I think this should be a 7-point spread. I agree with you. Also, I think 55 would be the total I would make on this one. So I really like this. Is probably one of my favorite games of the week. Give me the Colts and the over. I like both sides. Parlay it, and
you've got me more convinced now because they were like fringe top 5 for me. Like I
really like the Colts here.
5th biggest bet. Now I like it more.
I like this Colts. I like that game a lot. All right, let's head to the next one on the schedule. Pats are home hosting the Falcons off an embarrassing defeat and a really survivor pool destructive game for sure. 5.5 is the line. Pats are favored. You're laying minus 110 over at DraftKings on the Pats. Over 44.5 is minus 120 at DraftKings. Patriots, Drake May, best quarterback in football right now. I don't know. Statistically, very well maybe. And you play, I mean, the Falcons, they go out to San Francisco. You give them the excuse, like, all right, West Coast out in San Francisco, not an easy place to win. You're coming home. You're going to play Miami. It's like, I mean, you saw this Miami team last night. It's a team has been in turmoil all year. So this team is now lost. They got shut out by Carolina. And then they got and in a blowout. They get blown out at home here last weekend to Miami, who just doesn't look like they could beat anybody. I don't even know what, like, you feel like depending on the week, Atlanta could step up and have a good showing, but they could also throw those clunkers in there like they have with the Carolina game and that Miami game. So which Atlanta team shows up? What side do you like here?
Penix is questionable, right? I assume he's not going to play based on a lot of the line movement. And if he does play, he's compromised. And then after what I saw from Atlanta last week on offense, giving up 31 points to Miami, whatever, a lot of that had to do with how poor the offense played. They couldn't, I think Miami had the ball for 14 minutes the first quarter. That
was the same thing in the Carolina game.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, they got shut out. It was the offense that really caused the 30 points.
Yeah, it was. You couldn't pay me to take Atlanta right now. I love New England in this game. Love New England.
What do you like on the total?
Lean over, not heavy.
I have this one. So I have this at 4.5. Almost basically the numbers are like 4 3/4. So you can even round that up to 5. I would say let's say I've got this at 5. Pretty close to where the market is. That half point is fairly meaningless when you're talking about a 5-point spread, 5.5 point spread. The games just don't land on that number all that often. But I have a good I like the under here with the 40. I've got this at pretty much
the
at
Falcons
40.
Not scoring makes a lot of sense to me.
Exactly. I mean, that's the side that I'm looking at here is maybe the Falcons just don't put up a lot of points on the road here. I don't know what the weather, if we got any weather situations this weekend. We are getting into November. You really got to start paying attention to that on these outdoor games. But especially when you've got a dome team going up into a place like New England. So I don't know what the weather is up there right now, but the under here for me, I like the under more so than I like this game. Just because I just don't like how this Atlanta offense, whether they've got Penix in there or Cousins. I don't like how this offense looks. I think New England should win the game, of course. But the way, I mean, Atlanta, it's like you look at this and you go, all right, it's only 5.5 points. But I don't think anyone, like if you just asked everyone in the chat, like, oh, do you think Atlanta can win this game? I don't think anyone would say they have a chance to win this game as if it was a 14-point spread, like a 5.5 point spread.
Well, it opened to 3 also.
Yeah. But I'm like, it's not going to be a shock based on the point spread if they win this game, yet no one thinks they
I don't think I think they're going to get killed.
I do too, but it's just such an odd, you know what I mean? It's like
it's weird. I agree.
Yeah, it's like a 5, I get when you say Carolina can't beat, Green Bay or the Rams have no chance to lose this week, but it's a 5.5 point spread and it looks like Atlanta has absolutely no shot to win. So that always gives me a little bit of caution, but I'll take the under more so than the side on this one. All right, let's move to Texas. We'll go down to Houston, where the Texans are hosting the Broncos. -1.5, -110 at DraftKings, over 39.5, -115. Another low total for a Texan game. That seems to be the MO here. This Texan defense, really, really strong. Offense starting to maybe come around a little bit. What do you think? Denver,
playing
this is a big game. Denver and Houston. Denver at Houston.
This is going to be a familiar refrain from last week. This is my number one bet of the week on the Texans again. I still don't think the market's caught up to the Texans' defense and how strong they are. They should probably be favored by more than a field goal, or at least a field goal. So I definitely like the value on the 1.5. The Broncos have been very Jekyll and Hyde. Like you look at the games against the 2 New York teams, like 7 of those quarters, they just look terrible, and they won them both to their credit. But they're not going to be able to bullshit around against the Texans defense like that. And so, I think Houston should be able to put up enough points to win this. So I do like Houston. 39.5 is getting a little too far on the total. So I do like the over there as well.
I mean, the total's low. I get it. You can still get you get 40.5 over at DraftKings. You got to pay a little bit more juice for it if you like that. But the lowest total right now on the major books I'm seeing is did I say FanDuel's 40.5? DraftKings 39.5 has the lowest total, but you do pay a little juice on that over. But man, I agree with you. We've been saying if you look at my rankings, I've have Houston's like the only team with a record sub 500 that is up at the top 10 in my rankings. They're actually ranked
The
fifth
defense
right now.
is fucking good.
Their defense is elite. I don't think people realize. I always like looking at. We talked about it last week. I'll mention it again. That passer rating differential, just how well from a passer rating standpoint. So I've been looking at that. Their defense passer rating is best in the league, but they're not terrible offensively in that statistic as well. So
They're a lot better when Collins is in there.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he's a huge part of that offense. But I think the appearance of the offense here for Houston early in the season was worse than maybe, and the points that they were putting on the board was maybe worse than some of the underlying statistics behind that I like to look at, yards per play, things like that. I agree with you. I think until further notice, we could keep getting value on Houston because the record is so bad. I think this is a really strong play as well. I like Houston in this game. I'm going to go to the under, though. I don't think Denver's going to be able to score much. I think Denver's going to struggle to score in this game. So I think we'll get somewhere, Houston gets into the low 20s, maybe 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, something like that. And I don't think Denver could put more than 2 touchdowns on the board on this defense. I think you're going to see this defense shut this Denver team down. So but I do like Houston quite a bit. I think we both do. All right, let's head to New York, or maybe New Jersey, that is. And the Giants hosting the 49ers. Giants are a home dog. 2.5 points. They're getting. What's up?
Did you just hear Peach coughing up a lung?
No, I missed. I was talking too loud. Yeah, Peach. Peach is always kind of slow moving and loud. She can make loud noises,
just like me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You could. Yeah, you've got some bodily functions that can be broadcast pretty well over the internet. But the Giants are getting 2.5 here at home in the Meadowlands. -1.5 if you like the Giants on DraftKings. 48.5 to the over is no juice on DraftKings. 49ers definitely need this win. Did not have a good showing there last week after beating the Falcons. We mentioned the Houston game last week. They really did not look good offense, but Houston, as we said, they'll make any team look bad offensively. I don't think the Giants are necessarily in that same class of defense as Houston is, thus the 48.5 total. What do you think here? Giants, big injury too last week. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Scatterbo was fun to watch.
He's a talisman. He's more of a talisman than his actual effect on the field.
It's fun. It's fun to he was a fun guy to watch. And when you figure, like we all said, like this guy's not going to survive the year, and then to have the injury that he had, which really had nothing to do with the fact that he's crazy when he plays out there, was a shame. So I didn't like to see that injury, but you're right. I don't know if the effect is all that great as far as the point spread goes. I don't think it actually changed much at all. Dart is in there, of course. What do you think, Giants and 49ers?
I've been against the 49ers for like half the season now, ever since they started dying, and it's coming out that Mac Jones is probably going to start again. He's worse than Purdy, but I don't think it's that severe. The Giant, I just don't see how the 49ers, it's gotten too far with the spread for the 49ers. Like them laying eggs has gotten the spread to a point where them just to win a game against the Giants, I'm taking San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, I've got this number made at I've got it right at 2.5. So there you go. So I think it's the right number. I've got 46 on the total.
I don't have a strong opinion on the total.
What's your opinion on the total? You like this to the over?
I would lean over, but I don't, just because the Giants have been playing these shootout fucking games.
Yeah, the Giants. I could see it. This basically what you're saying is San Francisco's better than what they've shown. I mean, that's what you're saying.
Well, the healthier they get, the better they are.
And if that's the case, that's going to play into both the over as well, because they should score more points than they have been. So if you're just looking at the data here that I'm looking at from what they've done, I can understand that. So if you have that take where you're like, listen, as San Francisco does get healthier, they should be better, then my number is going to be off, my 2.5, and then the market's going to be off as well. That 2.5 number on the market is a little light. So I don't have a strong opinion. I could totally see where you're coming from with San Francisco basically having to just win a game against the Giants, but I don't feel all that great about it. I mean, it's certainly not a bet I want to make. My lean would be to the under just because the numbers here for me say that's the way it should go here, 46 points, but not that. Again, I agree with what you're saying here. If San Francisco can get back to what we think the San Francisco offense is, then this game should go Frisco and the over. All right, we'll head to Cincinnati. Bengals hosting the Bears. Get a similar situation here. 2.5 point spread, minus 102 at DraftKings if you like the Bengals. Over 51.5, minus 110. Looks like a pretty good DFS game. Which side do you like? Do you think we get more points than even the 51.5 is suggesting?
Well, Flacco just came out and said that he's going to, it sounded like he might try and give it a shot. Ultimately, that is a old man playing through an injury. So I don't know that it's that much different than Jake Browning. But these defenses are both fucking terrible. Fucking terrible. And their pace, that both offenses' pace is high. I think it's going over. Like 51 is too low. I love the over. And as far as the side, because of the compromised quarterback situation on Cincinnati's side, I lean heavily to Chicago. So Chicago and over.
How much would you adjust the point spread based? Let's say it's a injured Flacco. Would you adjust it at all?
Maybe a half point.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lot. I agree with you there. So, I mean, I've got this one at 3, and I think maybe it's already in the adjustment because I've got this one, the number at 3, and I would agree maybe a half point tops. What if it's not Flacco? What if Browning was in there?
I think the 2.5 is assuming Browning is going to play.
I don't think it's a huge difference either between either.
I
know
like
they
Browning
didn't look
sucks, but
good.
he could gut the Bears. The Bears can't play defense.
Exactly. This is a tough game for me to take either side. Like I said, my numbers say 3. I could see why you'd like the over. I'm cautious on the over as well, or not as well. But I'm a little cautious on the over. I've got it at 52, which puts it pretty much where the market is at right now. Maybe a little. I mean, you could get 50.5, but I don't think that's all that big.
50.5 is a lot more. It's important. It's important.
But you're laying 120 at that 50.5, right? So
yeah.
you gotta lay a little bit more juice there, 50.5 over on FanDuel. That is an important number, but I just don't like it here. I don't like particularly either side. If you're gonna force me to pick it, I'll take the Bears and I will take the over as well. But just not a game I love. Too much uncertainty here, and man, yeah, you're right. This Bear defense.
The one reliable thing is the Bears quarterback play.
Yes, against just a
horrible.
I mean, look at what
Caleb Williams is going to put up points here.
Well, look at what the Bengals did to Justin Fields was he was getting run out of town, couldn't win a game, and they just mount this unbelievable comeback in the fourth quarter against that atrocious defense.
Well, Breece Hall threw that touchdown.
He did. Let me tell you, that was a fantastic play too.
Which congrats to Bryce's buddy Brad Batten, who won the Millie on Breece Hall with Mason Taylor together.
Yes. I'm going to take a little bit of I'm going to take a little credit for Mason Taylor catching. I said on the Up to Lock show, Cincinnati, by the way, for you DFS people, the worst team against tight ends in the league. It took the last play, it took the last touchdown, but Mason Taylor got it.
Hey, that was a great play. That throw was horrible.
It is rare. It's rare that you see the running back actually make a smart play in that situation. I mean, they're taught either it's open, throw it away, or just run with it. And he pumped. It wasn't there. He pumped. As soon as he pumped and started to run, I'm like, all right, he's just going to run. When he stopped running, I go, oh, this is going to be an interception.
It
give
was
Mason
Taylor
Taylor
made a
credit
good
too.
play. Taylor made a good play.
Taylor made that's what I was saying. Give Taylor credit for making a really nice play on that. But you can only do that against a bad defense who can't get the pressure on the court. By the way, one of the best plays was earlier in that game, the Chase Brown not
Yes, not
flicking it back,
where he just
flicking
faked it. Yeah.
That was one of the smartest plays I've ever seen from a play, because that was
You
either
only have
gonna
a split second because you're going like this, and then you're turning, and he had to have just,
he saw the defensive
like,
end
"All right,
was
fuck
right
this."
there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was going to either be picked off, batted down. I mean, at a minimum, Flacco would have caught it and been sacked.
Yeah.
And he was able to take off for like 11 yards, that was one of the smartest plays I've ever seen. So that was really good. But that was another game, kill people in Survivor. So that was good for us. I know that.
Yeah. Getting us back in the black in Survivor. We
Exactly.
need that
Just slightly more equity than we started with now in Survivor, but long way to go, that's for sure. All right, let's get to Tennessee hosting the Chargers, plus 9.5 over on DraftKings, minus 105. Over 43.5 is minus 108. What do you think here with the Chargers and the Titans?
I obviously don't have much faith in the Titans' ability to score. But the Chargers obviously have been beat up all year, even with Alt back. It seems like a lot on the road. Seems like a lot. I haven't been on Tennessee basically at all the whole season. So, I mean, I hate taking them here, but I don't see the Chargers like playing some insane pace. I think they're going to play it safe and the game goes under. I have more faith in the under than the spread. But I think Tennessee covers the 9.5 with the game being pretty low scoring.
Yeah, I mean, I have this one 8.5 and 40. What do I have it at? 41.5.
Yeah, the under is stronger.
Yeah, I like this under as well, and because of that, I do lean towards Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, it's not fun betting Tennessee. I mean, let's face it. And I have quite a few times this year, and it hasn't been with the best results.
Yeah, I feel like every time it's like, I've got minus 16, and you're like, I've got Tennessee, and I'm like, I have the favorite, and then
yeah. No, we actually agreed, and the numbers didn't.
We had Tennessee against Arizona.
Yeah, but we didn't like last week. Was it last week? Was who they play last?
Indy,
no, that was the
Indy, and I laid like the 100.
Yes, exactly. But this week, I think you're right. I think the Chargers do play this game a little bit. This will be a little bit more kind of grinded out type of game. I think it stays on the ground. I don't think they're all that worried about Tennessee being able to put a lot of points up against them. I like this game to stay under. Conservative game plan for the Chargers. So I'll take the under. I like the under better. I agree with you there. But
the issue with this one, Devin, just to answer this question real quick. The issue with this is that I think Ridley might play this week. Ridley's questionable, but I think he might be going.
We'll see. I'll update I'm gonna update the Boom Report later today. I did it yesterday, but yeah, we'll see what the injuries look like. That Boom Report, you got to look at it like at noon on Sunday when we start getting we got that Drake London. I didn't think Drake London was going to be out, and then he was out.
No, the thing is when it's last second like that, like I didn't even start really working like heavily on what I was doing until they for sure announced Drake London was out, because I was pretty sure he was not playing.
And then you get no advantage of him being out because
right. And then I played Darnell Mooney in 80% of my lineups, and he sucks ass.
That's always my favorite when you're diligent and it bites you.
Yeah,
that's always fun. Usually happens in the NBA because you get a lot of those scenarios on a nightly basis in the NBA. You had Franz Wagner in your Wagner. You had him in your core last night. Everybody was like, "What? JBC must have inside info that he knows he's playing," and then he was in. So, yeah, sometimes you got to take. But that was the early game, so we had time to think about it. Just giving you some props there. All right. Anyway, let's get to the next one. Man, I really hate. I just hate all these big lines. It's not as much fun. I always feel like it's a little easier to handicap the tight ones. But another big line here: the Lions hosting the Vikings, and we didn't think this was going to be a big line.
There you go. Ridley just ruled out.
Oh, is that seriously like right now?
Yeah.
All right. There we go. All right. Yeah, Lions. I don't think we thought necessarily maybe a few weeks ago, or certainly when the season started. This Viking team wasn't. The Vikings had the best record in the NFC last year, didn't they? And now suddenly the quarterback that they had last year is vying for the best record in the NFC this year with a different team. So maybe that guy's better than we thought. Who knows? He certainly had the pedigree where he was drafted. Jets could use him. That's for sure. But we'll get back
Giants
to
could
the
use
Lions.
Danny Dimes too.
Yeah.
The Browns
that's a
could
good
use
point.
Baker Mayfield.
What if, and this could easily happen, a Colts Seattle Super Bowl. I mean, the New York fans will just, I mean, that's it. They're just going to lose their minds. That would be unbelievable. And yeah, could
That would
easily
be
happen.
the best. That would be the best.
That would be good. I haven't even thought about it, but I'm like, yeah, now I got something to root for. All right. Detroit is hosting the Vikings here, 8.5 points. You're laying -112. The over is 47.5, -115 on DraftKings. What do you think here? Detroit kind of make a statement in the division?
I have no faith in the Vikings' ability to score. JJ McCarthy sucks. Carson Wentz sucks. Everybody sucks. Detroit
Sounds
and under.
like Limp-
They're gonna hammer them.
Sounds like a Limp Bizkit song.
Yeah, 34
right.
to 6.
Man, I am going to. I don't know if you got the exact score right, but I see this game going the exact same way. I think it's a blowout under.
Yeah,
because I don't think Minnesota can. I don't think Minnesota is going to be able to put any points on the board here against the Lions. So I like this one. I get my numbers have it. I've got it at 11.5 as the line, and they would never make this game 11.5. 8.5 is already a pretty high number for this game. So I think we're getting a lot of value here.
I think that's going to keep going up.
Yeah, I love this one. I think we're getting it. We're getting it better than the key number of 10 and 11 that I think this one should be priced at. Also like this one to go to the under. I've got it 45.5 on the under. I basically make this game like 30 to 17 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
40. Well, that would be 47, I guess.
Yeah.
40. No, I'm sorry. 29-17. I'll put it right at 46. So, and it's not going to end on 29. So, yeah, let's call it 30 to 17. Game still goes under. That's going to be that'll be my prediction on that one. All right. But I do like this one a lot. I think you like it a lot as well. Lions.
Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah, Lions minus the 8.5. I think we both like this one quite a bit. I think it's very bettable. All right. Let's go to the 4:00 games. Rams hosting the Saints. Another massive spread. 14 is the line at DraftKings, -115 on that favorite. Rams at home, 43.5 to the total, -108 if you like the over. What do you think here, Rams and Saints?
Say what you will about Rattler. They were moving the ball even though he was a little reckless with it. And a couple of those were fumbles that were not his fault. It was on receivers and all kinds of shit. So to switch to Tyler Shuff, I don't think that's the answer. Let's just put it that way. I don't think that's going to help them at all. In fact, I think it's worse for them. And the market agrees with me as the spread has gone up and the total has gone down since they announced that Shuff was going to play. So I think this is a similar situation to the last game. I think that they beat the shit out of them 31-3 Rams. So Rams and under.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this move is probably a negative for
Negative
Saints. I had it. I've got this at 12.5 with Rattler.
With Rattler, yes. It opened at 12 and now it's 14.
Yeah, that was my number with Rattler in, and you've got to kind of figure out. And
This guy sucks. This guy sucks.
Well, how many points? I mean, the market's obviously looking at 2.5 point difference. Do you think it's so? You're thinking it's even more than
Think
that?
about they drafted him high, and then they instead of playing him, they played their 6th round guy who wasn't that good last year instead. That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, it seems like they're just kind of hoping they're making a change for the sake of making
He's
a
just
change.
pissed that Rattler's turning the ball over.
Agreed, but I agree with you. I don't think Rattler's necessarily been. I mean, he hasn't been great, but I don't think he's been the problem that this team that this team is suffering from. So, yeah, I mean, normally I wouldn't like laying this many points. I would lean that way. One thing, when you have quarterback changes, I've said this on the show before. I've said it on other shows. If you have strong if you have a strong opinion on the differential between the starter and the backup or whoever the two quarterbacks are, that's the one spot in the NFL that you could really find value if you're good at it, because there's not a lot of data here. You have no data on the new quarterback, right? So there's not a lot of data to work with. So that's one place where if you watch a lot of college football, these guys, whatever it may be, you can gain an edge just by being the average Joe sitting on your couch if you really understand quarterback.
It's because it's impossible to quantify it. We have no idea how much better Spencer Rattler is than Shep.
Well, look at Lamar.
But he is.
Look at Lamar. Like, they put a ridiculously high. Lamar was like worth 9 points over Cooper Rush.
What's the spread last night if it's Tyler Huntley? Or sorry, not Tyler Huntley, if it's Cooper Rush.
Yeah, if it's Rush.
The Dolphins are favored if it's Rush. Easy.
Exactly. Oh, 100% at home. Yeah, it was 11.
Maybe more than
a field goal. 3-point favorite at home, maybe 3.5, something like that. Miami's favorite. But they didn't price. My point was they didn't price it that way. If this was the first game Lamar was out, I forget who the first team that they played when Lamar was out. If it was it Houston?
The Rams?
I think it was Houston. It was Houston, the first game.
And they got destroyed.
And they only priced him as 9 points. I say only, like, I've only seen double digits.
Houston was only minus 2.5.
Who's that?
Houston was only minus 2.5.
Right. And that was a 9-point differential from where that line was going to be. And then they realized quickly, well, we got to move this. And then they made it 11. It may well be 12 with Cooper Rush. And then they adjusted because Huntley was a much better option.
Huntley has a much higher floor.
Yeah.
He doesn't do stupid shit.
So his differential there from Lamar was a lot. It's still like a touchdown. Or
his differential from Rush was like 2 points. Huntley.
I think it was more than that. I think
maybe he looked fine.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, Rush was bad. But my point is, it's really hard to quantify, like you said. And I think if you have a strong opinion on the backup, one way or another, typically what you get is situations with an injury and there's an overcorrection in the market. With Lamar, it was an under. They didn't correct enough. Because 9 is historically high to begin with. You just never see that much.
Same thing happened with Browning. But I think that was more because Browning sucked ass and not Burrow, because Flacco came in and he was fine.
That is correct. I thought there was an overcorrection for Browning. He wound up being really bad. But then you saw that play out with the Flacco situation. So I just think, look for these. We all like to bet all the games and you want to bet it, but if you're going to get serious about it, I think one area that you can really look at is backup quarterbacks. And then if you're really good, monitoring the games as they go and looking, when the quarterback gets hurt mid-game, because that's going to happen on a few of these games during the week, that's going to change the live betting. If you're on top of what's going on with the live lines and seeing what that adjustment is in game, you could also pick off live and go, man, they're over adjusting here for, you get like a Mac Jones Purdy situation where you're like, I don't think these guys are all that far from difference from each other. But if you can go, you got to do all that work during the week and say, all right, I know who all the backups are. If this happens, let me quickly check. And how much are they moving?
Because it's all algorithm. It's not.
They have no idea. I've told you, I've spoken to Ed Miller who does this, and he does a lot of live game modeling for the books. And he's like, yeah, they have no idea. They've got a trader back there who's just trying to come up with a number. And a lot of times they don't know. So you can pick them off. That's one spot that you really gain an edge. In all sports, by the way. Yeah, well, exactly. Listen, you're getting your subscription you're getting a lot more out of that subscription. You're getting a lot of value out of that subscription, because there's a lot of work involved in all that stuff. But I do appreciate that. Yes, that is why a lot of people do pay for subs. That is for sure. But all right, let's head to Vegas. Raiders at home. Another 2.5-point road dog. I guess 3 points if you're looking on DraftKings, but you got to lay 120 to get that 3. Jaguars coming out to the West. 43.5 is the total, minus 115 to the over on DraftKings. What do you like here? Vegas at home against Jacksonville.
Who was just ruled out for Jacksonville? Receiver. Fuck him.
BTJ.
No, not Thomas and whoever's the 2. Oh, Travis Hunter's on IR. So Travis Hunter's on IR.
Didn't know that. Is Hunter on IR? I didn't see that. Okay.
Travis Hunter's on IR. BTJ is hurt / sucks. The Raiders are coming off a bye. I tend to like the Raiders here. I think Jacksonville will struggle to score without all their weapons, playing a bunch of scrubs at wide receiver. So I'll give me the Raiders with the 3 and then the under.
So we're talking about injuries now.
And Bowers has got 2 weeks to get
Bowers,
out.
yeah. When you talk about the injuries, usually it's the quarterback, right? They're going to move the point spread a lot. There's maybe a handful of defensive players. Like Garrett, is going to move the line. There's not a lot of positional players, but I think, and certainly offensive linemen, like we don't factor them all that much in. Maybe there's some, but I think when you get cumulative in it, like the Chargers this year, where you had a cumulative problem.
Accumulating injuries at one position is a problem.
There's another thing that I do think gets undervalued in the market, because you can make up for one player. You can make up for one wide receiver. I think when you have multiple, that becomes a big problem. We've seen it time in, time out. So I agree. I think this line should have been 4.5. So I do think I think the 2-point adjustment is fair for me, getting this one down. So I don't particularly love it. I would lean towards Vegas just because of the injuries there in that game. So I do agree with you slightly. It's just not a game I could really play. But again, I think you have to factor in, if you're going to weigh those injuries more so than perhaps I am, then I think you got to like the Vegas side.
Bowers is going to cook them.
I agree, but I think this. I like the under a little more.
I like the under too, but I'm saying,
yeah,
I haven't struggled for. Bowers will be healthy-ish. Let's get it.
Yeah, well, they've had a big problem. I mean, that's been big. I think Bowers has really been the biggest problem.
They beat New England on the road. Like they just need, like he's the whole offense.
Yep, totally agree. My lean will be, I'll lean Raiders, but I like I think the under is a better play here. I think Jacksonville's going to struggle to score. I was looking at early in the week, like I kind of like Jacksonville from a DFS standpoint, but now that I look at it and with the injuries, I don't know if that's going to be the case. So let's go to the game of the week here. Buffalo's hosting the Chiefs, and another home dog plus 1.5 minus 105 for Buffalo on DraftKings. 52.5 to the over minus 108. Game of the week, 425 window. What do you like here with Buffalo and the Chiefs?
What Buffalo's defense did last week doesn't really move the needle for me. Dalton looked like shit. Buffalo's offense looked similar to how they have been, which is kind of plodding and not really explosive. Kansas City has continued to look pretty much unbeatable since they got everybody back. Kansas City big. I love Kansas City in this game.
They tend to do well against Buffalo as well. That's for sure. More so in the postseason, but yeah, I mean, I've got the number pretty much. I've got it at 1. I mean, it's pretty much right where it's at. 1-point favorite. Do you like the total?
Over.
So you like this one to go over? I'm worried about I think the 52.5 is a little high. I like this Chiefs defense. So I'm going to lean to the under. I've got this priced a little low. Now, we got to factor in the numbers for the year. Like you said, Kansas City's better than what they...
Kansas City, I think, is going to score and score and score and score and score and score.
And that's the thing. So you've got to make that adjustment off of what we've seen for the majority of Kansas City, especially earlier, and what they've looked like over the last couple of weeks as they've gotten healthy here. And that's going to push the total up. I still don't know if it's enough. I like the Kansas City defense. I think, look, they're not going to shut out Buffalo. Buffalo is going to be able to put some points on the board. But I'm going to lean. I just think that's still a really high number at 52.5. So I'll lean to the under, and I'll take the Chiefs as well. But don't really care. I couldn't actually put any money on that bet at all. All right, let's get to the primetime game. Seattle is in Washington. Another field goal home dog on a primetime game, minus 115 if you're taking Washington on DraftKings, over 48.5, minus 105 on DraftKings for the total. Commanders hosting the Seahawks. Seahawks looking like one of the best teams in the NFC. That's a shocker to, I think, you and I. What do you like here in this one?
As I've said the entire fucking year, the Commanders fucking suck. They
That
suck.
part we got right. Yeah, that part
They
we got.
suck.
Yeah.
And, no, I'm not taking the fucking Commanders. Like Seattle all fucking day. All day Seattle.
Yeah, that's another one I like quite a bit. I think we're getting a really good number.
They suck.
Yeah, you're getting 3, and you the juice is on the Commander side with that 3, so you're getting you lay less juice, -105 to lay that 3. I don't mind that at all. I like the Seattle
100% correct. Terrible. They're not good.
And that's it's really a lesson for, you're going to have those teams every year. We'll see who makes the playoffs this year, but there's going to be a bunch of those teams. We talk about it all the time. The difference between 7 wins and 10 wins, I know it's 3 wins, but the difference in the quality of those teams is pretty much.
Think about Baltimore's first 4 games and then the Steelers and how they went. The Steelers game against the Patriots, the Steelers game against the Jets, and then you look at the Baltimore game against the Bills, and then the one against the Chiefs. It's like those all could have gone the other way.
You look at you look at Tampa. You're like, boy, Tampa could be
could
better. They could be worse.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a lot of teams. You can almost just pick out of a hat outside of, you take the best teams and the really, really bad teams. But for the most part, there's going to be 20 teams that if the ball bounces the right way, they're going to make the playoffs. So, fading some of these teams that you think maybe played a little bit over their head. I think what happens is most people in the market look at they're like rookie quarterback, made the playoffs. Now, next year is the next step. They always look for the next
Drake
step.
May. So it's like they were right about Drake May and they were wrong about Jaden Daniels.
That's right. And now he's, and then Daniels hurt. And it's not like I dislike Jaden Daniels. I think he's a quality quarterback, but
I think Jaden Daniels it's funny. People like to use the term game manager. Jaden Daniels' entire strength is that he doesn't turn the ball over. I don't think he's actually that good. He just doesn't do anything stupid.
I agree. I think he's a smart quarterback. I do agree. And if you get the right situation where you are on a team that is going to get the other, on the flip side, they're getting the turnovers and you're not turning the ball over in this league. You're already way ahead of the 8 ball. So, but yeah, they've been a little bit more banged up this year. That's going to happen in the NFL. Back to this game though. I like how Seattle's playing. I know it's a road game, primetime road game, but I like Seattle quite a bit. I make this number 4.5. To me, this is a very bettable game on primetime. Give me Seattle all day. All right. The last game of the week, we get an actual home.
The most entertaining game of the week.
Very well. Maybe this will be a fun showdown.
We love solo Cowboys games.
Solo Cowboys, yeah. That's the one constant in the NFL this year is make sure you've got DFS interest on the main slate when Dallas is in there on that game.
Cowboys are the fucking best.
It's brutal. This defense is absolutely atrocious. -2.5. Dallas -115. Over 54.5 -110 on DraftKings. Give me your take here. What do you like?
Well, Kyler's coming back. At least they're saying he's probably coming back, which I think is why the line moved from 3.5 down to 2.5. It's your classic scenario where I think it's a coin flip due to how many points are going to be scored. I think it's going way over. I think we're looking at a 35-31 type situation. And so I'll take dog money line on that every time. So Arizona and over.
Do you think there was a big difference? We talked about the quarterbacks with Murray and Brissett.
Yeah.
Points.
More than you would think, but yeah.
They looked good. Well, because they looked so good.
Yeah, I just no. Kyler's still a lot better than him. Especially in this type of situation where you really need to put up a ton of points. Kyler's going to be better.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I've got the line pretty close to where it is. I would agree. I've got it slightly to the over, but I think with Murray in there against this type of defense, I agree because
the pacing is going to be crazy.
It's going to be a crazy pace. When you have a quarterback who could run like a Murray against a defense that really can't guard anybody down the field, you start running guys downfield, you're going to have multiple. Either
Arizona is not going to punt. Dallas is going to have to score
Right.
40.
So either he's going to throw big plays down the field, or you're going to be able to push the Dallas defense back so far that he's going to be able to run for big chunks as well. So it's going to be real tough for that Dallas defense to stop Arizona. I think the over is, I like the over. I don't think Arizona necessarily stops the Dallas offense all that much either. So I like the over more so than anything else. I put the number pretty close to where it's at. But I agree with you. I like the over. That'll be a fun Monday night game, at least for fantasy. We'll talk next week, and you'll talk about how you lost a solo million because there's going to be a late touchdown in that game, and it's
right. Hunter Lepke.
Exactly. So we'll bitch about that one on next week's show. All right, everybody, let's go to DraftKings pick 6. Let's see if we got any.
Guess the balance. Guess the balance. Everybody's favorite.
Well, we got to get the let some subs guess the balance.
30
I'm
seconds.
going to go with. I'll go with 18. I'll go with 1876.32.
Okay. $18.76.
No, $1,876.32.
Okay.
Do we have any guessers?
No, nobody's guessing. This is the most popular segment on the show with Wiley. Guess not today.
Everyone's we don't do it that much on here, so
yeah, we don't do it, and a lot of the people aren't that are viewing are not subscribing, so they're not in on the bit.
Exactly, not in on it.
All right. Let's see here. Let me get my.
So yeah, we're gonna. If you are new, by the way, hit the like, subscribe to the channel.
1,002 and 14.
Yeah. All right.
Not even close.
We got to. Yeah, I wasn't. Wow. I had the right.
You're
I had the right first pick. I was
right.
Between 1,000 and 2.
All right. Let's go to passing yards. We'll start here.
What do you want to start it off? You want to kick this one off?
Yeah. I'm going Caleb Williams over 237.5.
Caleb Williams, what are you going with? Over?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get this to get on the NFL here. All right. Let's see. I'll give you one out of left field. The Green Bay Carolina game, Emmanuel Wilson. Now I know this could come back to bite me here, but I'm going with his under in rushing. It's 29.5.
Okay.
Seeing the market's a little below that.
I like that. All right. Let's see here.
What'd you take on Caleb Williams?
Over passing yards.
You took his over passing. Okay.
Let's check out. Oh man, that Bijan number is so low, but they suck. I'm still going over. Bijan over 62.5.
Bijan over. All right, let's go Pittsburgh, Indy, Jaylen Warren. Give me his receiving yards to the under. I think it's 23.5.
Jaylen Warren under on the receiving yards. All right. Let's pick one for that Vegas game. Oh, yeah. Bowers over 52.
All right, I'm looking. Well, we got one more, right, for me? I'm actually, all right. I'm going to take Sam Darnold's number under on his passing yardage because I do think they get out. I think they're going to have a big lead in this game, and it's just kind of pound the ball. So I'll take the Darnold under 245.5, I believe it is there, right? Yep. Let's take that. We got a lot of unders here.
So Caleb Williams over 237.5 passing yards. Emmanuel Wilson under 29.5 rushing yards. Bijan Robinson over 62.5 rushing yards. Jaylen Warren under 23.5 receiving yards. Brock Bowers over 52.5 receiving yards. Sam Darnold under 245.5 passing yards. 100 wins at least 25. Picks have been submitted. Yeah.
I like it. Did you dress Peaches up at all? Usually, I mean, they're dressed up once a week. They didn't get them dressed up for the holiday.
Say
No
what?
trick-or-treating? You didn't get Peaches and dressed up? The dog?
They man, what did they do on Tuesday? They did like a finger painting. I'll have to send it to you.
They're dressed up once a week. I'm like, I can't believe they're not dressed up today.
I know. I was surprised as well.
It's like medieval. What was it? Medieval times 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So medieval. Well, Wally was the Pope. Yes.
Well, Wally's like doesn't care. Like Wally looks happy.
He loves the
no matter what.
outfits. Peach
Yeah,
doesn't like the outfits.
Peaches is like, this is the worst shit. Peaches does not want to be dressed up. Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for Peaches. But I'm wearing my velour suit out, my velour tracksuit out tonight.
Yeah.
With a cigar, and I'm gonna bust the pinky ring out that I haven't worn in 20 plus years.
Very nice.
And I'll have the we call them
meeting a lady friend.
We call them no. I'm gonna just the bar. I was gonna do the Ric Flair, but I couldn't get it.
Right.
Could not get the robe in time because I don't think about these things until like the day before. So, so I'll have to go with what I have and look like an Italian mobster. No one's gonna know I'm dressed up, but whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All right, everybody. Good luck. Good luck with your picks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and come check us out over at runpuresports.com for Statsational. Or for JBC. I'm Statsational. I definitely don't want to be JBC. Good luck. We'll see you next week.